Yo, what is up, folks? MTG here. We have Aetherdrift out, and I wanted to kick off with Hollow One of my favorite archetypes in Pioneer, Explorer, the MTG Arena equivalent, which we're playing here, and specifically Baby Shark. Dun, 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 dun. Hopefully that doesn't get me copies written struck, but this card is already making some moves. I've seen it do well in Modern already, when he challenges and stuff, or top 4ing, I think it's top 4 the last Modern challenge. But Marauding Mako. Red for a 1/1, whenever you discard one or more cards, put that many +1/+1 counters on this creature. And this can get huge. The whole deck's built around discarding cards. Hollow One, kind of the namesake card, if you're not familiar. 5 mana, 4/4, but 2 less to cast for each card discarded. And the rest of the deck's based around discarding cards or getting bonuses around discarding cards. But Mako is the new big thing. There are a bunch of discard matters cards in Aetherdrift. But I think this is the one that's like kind of keyed in for older formats. I might have a look at some lovely red stuff later on as we go into the format, but I think to start with, red is the best place to be, and this is probably the only new card that makes it over. But we'll see. But Marauding Mako being a 1/1, later on in the game it like cycles, but if you can land it early, stick it to the board, and then have some things up to discard some cards, it starts getting big really, really quickly. It's just an awesome extra threat. In addition to this, at 1, we have Flameblade Adept. Red for a 1/2 with Menace. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, it gets +1/+0 turn and turn. It does very much the same thing, but only like one time. It is evasive though, which means it's a good thing to put counters on, and it's just another extra early threat. And then the last one drop we have is Incident Neonate. Red for a 1/1, Menace, but then discard a card, sacrifice this creature, draw a card. This is the first like discard effect we have, and importantly, once you've played it out onto the battlefield, it is quote unquote free, in that in a turn when you're in like a go turn, when you're going off to try and get like the 3 cards discarded to get Hollow One for free, this doesn't cost you any mana. And yeah, sure, maybe you play it on the turn and do it, but that's fine. So we have 3 red creatures. Note the Instant Neonate, it's got Menace, it can still beat down a little bit, but it's mostly there as like the free discard out. 12 aggressive creatures, which lead us into Inti and Smuggler's Copter. These both want us to have like early creatures in play. Smuggler's Copter obviously to crew. You get to sit there and like crew with Neonate, and then eventually like sacrifice this when you need to. But Inti lets you both put counters on your creatures, which is specifically nice with Neonate and Flameblade Adept with the Menace ability, while getting card advantage and kind of like just one of the most important things Inti does is actually give Hollow One or potentially a Marauding Mako's Trample. 1 red for a 2/2. Whenever you attack, you may discard a card. When you do, put a counter on target attacking creature. It gains trample turn to turn, which is already like, okay, fine. Maybe I have some extra death stuff in hand. I get to like give like some form of evasion to a creature. Cool. Or buff up some kind of evasive creature. But the second clause is where things get really nice. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, exile the top card of your library, you may play that card until your next end step. This is 1 or more cards. So if you're discarding 1 card, it triggers once. If you're discarding 2 cards, say for like Cathartic Reunion or Fable or the Mirror Breaker, it only triggers once still. But gives you a ton of extra card advantage, and kind of like it gives you like a lot of fuel with some of the slower grinding decks in the format. Is super nice. The other 2 drop we have is Fear of Missing Out. This deck is surprisingly good at, I'm going to say this now, I'm going to play some games and I'm just never going to have Delirium online, but this is an enchantment creature. We've got Fable, Hollow One's an artifact, Smuggler's Copter's an artifact. We have a bunch of different types here. Turning on Delirium, really solid. Enters, discard, and draw. Okay, fine. We have some things that we do actively want in our graveyard as well, which helps this and some of the other discard effects out. But Delirium, whenever this creature attacks for the first time each turn, if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, untap target creature. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. Pretty nice. Get some like big attack turns in. Also synergizes really nicely with Flame Wake Phoenix, which we'll also kind of get to in a second. Cathartic Reunion being like a big discard spell, lets you discard 2 cards for 2 mana, but also draws you those cards back, which is nice. Generally, like, so you've got like either Smuggler's Copter, which I've also kind of not talked about. The Smuggler's Copter and Neonate, as well as like the Inti attack trigger, are quote unquote free discard effects in that you're not spending mana for them actively, unless you're having to play them out on that turn. Cathartic Reunion gives you 2 discards, and then one of these things will then get you to the 3 discards you need for the Hollow One. Similarly, like Fable, obviously the turn you're playing it to make the Goblin. The second turn, you get to discard up to 2 cards. Again, isn't going to cost you mana that way. And having those to enable you to cast like Hollow Ones and have like real like properly going off turns is really important. And enables you to go like, oh, I'm going to dump like a pile of power into play on turn 2. Specifically, whereas Fable is like a little bit slower. There's definitely builds of this deck where I've not played this, but here we're back kind of in on it. At 3, I mentioned Fable. This card's incredible, of course. Is a little bit slow. This deck's trying to kill your opponent to kill pretty quickly, but the consistency it provides, as well as like the late game like discard stuff to keep going, getting holds on the line, and in particular, because in this deck we're also playing Flamewake Phoenix. 1 red, 2/2 with haste. Tactics combat Fable, but Ferocious. If you have a creature with power 4 or greater, you can pay red. If you do, return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield, and importantly, this happens at the beginning of combat step. So in terms of 4-power creatures, we've got Hollow one here. Inti puts counters on things, so it's very easy to turn Smuggler's Copter into a 4/4. Similarly, Marauding Mako, the new edition, gets a bunch of counters pretty quickly, and so a bunch of ways to do that. Flamewake Phoenix, as well as being something that we want to actively proactively discard to our graveyard with our other discard effects, also synergizes really, really well with Fear of Missing Out. When you get the attack trigger with Fear of Missing Out, and so you like attack with like Fear, Flamewake Phoenix, a Hollow one, you trade this in combat, or it gets put into the graveyard off of like an Inti discard or Smuggler's Copter discard. The extra combat step that you get with Fear of Missing Out, where it untaps a creature and then you get extra combat, Flamewake Phoenix will trigger from the graveyard, and you can bring them back, which is super nice, and people never expect it, which is really, really cool. And so this is the shell. I think this is thereabouts a first draft, but I think it looks pretty solid. We'll see if we want to make any changes and see how it plays out. I will be taking this into some best of 3 ranked. Mana base, I've gone very, very simple. You could try playing more utility lands, you can play Raminap Ruins, but generally the deck wants to play a very low land count. We have a bunch of draw and discard effects to kind of like facilitate this. So I've just gone for 1 Den of the Bugbear, 1 Second, and 16 Mountains to be super, super solid. But obviously you can mess around and get fancy with this if you want to. That sideboard that I mentioned has some very specific things. So 4 copies of Rending Volley, Greasefang, Angels, Spirits, a few other decks, Humans as well. Just very, very efficient removal. Specifically like Greasefang, you don't want to get comboed. And so this can help disrupt some of that stuff. 2 copies of License Hearse as our graveyard hit of choice. 1, 2, 3 copies of Fuel the Flames. This kind of new like instant speed pyroclasm effect that also cycles. Trying it out here. It obviously does affect some of our cards negatively, but however, Fear of Missing Out, Smuggler's Copter, like Marauding Mako, we can get above that number, or just play in a way in which we can take advantage of Fuel the Flames versus the aggro decks in the format. Then there are some Magebane Lizards versus some of the like combo-y stuff. I decided to go with this over something like Damping Sphere, because Damping Sphere impacts us a bit more negatively, whereas like if we take a bit of damage from casting a couple of non-creature spells, it's not the end of the world. And then versus control decks, I've got 2 copies of Erebras Forge and 2 copies of Hazoret the Fervent. This is like a little expensive at 4 mana, but being able to draw through like quite a bit of our deck with like Fables and Cathartic and all this stuff, I think we can get to 4, and Hazoret is a really nice indestructible threat with some of the Wrath effects in the format. So, with that being said, that's the deck. If you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel, like, share the video around, all that stuff really helps a ton. And let's get into some best of 3 matches. Alright, first match with Hollow one. See how the baby sharks do. I'm curious. They're obviously vulnerable, like they're 1 mana 1/1s, but once you start getting stacking on them, it seems pretty solid. There's incentive though. I'm gonna keep this, of course, to set up some ways to trigger them in play. So I'm actually gonna lead with the Neonate here, and I'm gonna look to sequence like Neonate into Smuggler's Copter, and then we can play this and like immediately make it a 3/3. I think is pretty solid. Spire Bluff. Alright. Okay. Good done to draw this. I'm just gonna go ahead and attack here. See what they do. There's also a case to be made. We don't know anything right now, but we can. There's definitely a case to be made to go like Mako, Adept. If they don't put Blocker into play, this is the most amount of damage we can get, and just kind of ignore the Smuggler's Copter or potentially discard it to the Fable. I kind of like that line. I'm gonna play the Adept first. If they untap and like main deck Pyroclasm us, then I will cry. But yeah, looks to be like Phoenix or potentially some kind of blue-red combo deck. There are like blue-red like Lotus Field builds as well, I should say, but I don't know if any of them play consider Act. Slight here, maybe they're digging for a land, or potentially just an answer. You've exposed us a little bit because the minute we can only make it a 2/2. Once we can make it a 3/3, it dodges a lot of removal. Does still die to Fiery Impulse, but only with the Spell Mastery. So it looks like we're gonna get to untap here. Okay. We're not like racing to just throw everything away. Either of these get spell pierced, but Fable is the most upside if we land it. Oh no, we've been got. But I think that's not the end of the world. All right. Read the spell pierce, played into it. Classy. But there's a bunch of situations where they don't have this. They only generally play 2, so I don't find it worth playing around, like, if the upside is this big. Button. Okay. We've got the den, so, like, hanging on to the den isn't the worst. We're really pretty slow here, but, again, forcing them to act a little bit. I don't necessarily want to, like, sacrifice the neonate just to get, like, a little bit further ahead. Oh well. It doesn't immediately progress unless we draw in something powerful. Cops are here. Can't spell pierce me now. Which is the other thing, is that, like, we're so far away of being able to resolve this 3 spell pierce. But hey. Like I said, I generally, like, okay, they probably have 2 spell pierces max main deck. I've seen people play a 3rd, and yeah, it does look to be actual Phoenix, given just running out of pick lock. Okay. Given this, in spite of everything, we're gonna boot up the Den of the Bugbear. We're just like we're just gonna opt out of discarding cards. I'll crew with the neonate because we're likely to sacrifice it. And it also means they don't have any good blocks. We got a goblin. We'll take action with the Smuggler Copter. Let's scout the mountain. Surprise, surprise. Triggers here. So they can eat the goblin token. Or we can try and block the Mako. I think if they block the Mako, it is worth doing this. It does dodge moisture removal, but it also does get us a little bit further through our deck. I think it's valid. And we get the point of damage back on the Flame Blade Adept, so that's fine. Alright, they're on 2. See what's up. So we have like a couple of houses for this matchup. That's probably it. Rending Volley kills Ledger Shredder, but it's actually like, I mean, they're probably playing Ledger Shredders, but it's hard to account for that, and it's very narrow. We don't want to have like narrow cards sitting around in hand, even if we can potentially discard them away. We'd rather just be able to discard them and not have to worry about, well, what if they play this or that. But not all Phoenix decks play Ledger Shredder. Getting the pranks is not necessarily the most important thing in the world. So we have a couple of hearses, and then in terms of what we cut, I'm not entirely certain off my head. We have the lightning axes, which are like not that great, but I don't really necessarily want to cut them here. Maybe we cut some of the slower stuff. I don't necessarily want to bring in Forge either. The lizards are kind of interesting. Mind these and these. And then like, okay, cool. Phoenix is like fine, but not fantastic. Fable. Inti's a weird one because it's legendary, but you just discard the extra copies. They saw Copter. It's reasonable for them to associate with playing Hollow one. I might actually cut these Copters. And then maybe trim 2 Fables. Just to smooth our curve out a little bit. Yeah. The things we want to Lightning Axe, we really want to Lightning Axe. I mentioned like Ledger Shredder, but it is a bit of a catch-all. But like, if we don't see Shredder game 2, we can potentially opt for game 3. But it also like, provides a nice discard outlet, which is good. But hopefully we just don't play game 3. That'd be good. Here for that. Double Mako into Cathartic Reunion? Interesting. Not necessarily in that order. Alright, well they played blue side up, so we're gonna go ahead and run out the Mako. Mako's nice because it's like a threat that we can like put counters on and get it outside of like sweeper range pretty quickly. But they will have spell mastery online if they want it. Now we have double cathartic, which is awkward for a couple of reasons. I'm just gonna attack with this. I don't really want to discard a card to NT for like no, because we're not gonna flip a card off of it this turn. And then in a kind of similar vein, like, do I want to expose it still? I think this is okay. We kind of keep a Mako in the pocket. Like, we get 2 counters on here, but it still dies to the Fiery Impulse. Okay. This is kind of fair. They're on the play that we've not done loads with that. We have third Mako here. I'm gonna keep like Spell Pierce in, maybe. But you can also like double down on this stuff. I've played the land already. I think if they're gonna bait us into like a Pyroclasm, I'm gonna do this. It would be nice to like get these into play before this. However, I think it's fine that we played it out. If we have one large one, I think it's reasonable. But playing these out into like a Pyroclasm or something like, or Brother's End would be pretty devastating. Let me get max info. Okay. I'm going to discard Mountain, I'm going to discard one of the Cathartic Ingredients, because it's going to be quite difficult for us to use both. We do draw a hollow one here. And a land. I think I play most of my hand now. They've used one Brotherhood's End. So we'll pay 1 mana for this hollow one. I'll play one of the Makos out. This means that we can draw and then cast Cathartic Green on our next turn. And even pay for Spell Pierce. But okay, let's just keep it up. Fair enough, fair enough. Nice, we take those. Alright. On the play, second match here. One lander, we have the one Mako, we're gonna mulligan this. Looks something a little better. We'll go ahead and keep this. And I'm gonna bottom a Mountain, I think. It's tempting to bottom the Fable, but hey. I think this looks okay. And we'll lead off with the Adept. We got Thoughtseize. Which takes the FOMO. Obviously don't want to take the Phoenix necessarily. Alright. Like a third land. I'm not gonna cycle the hollow one now. See how this plays out. Duress takes the Fable. It's annoying for sure. What else we got though? Medieval taps for black. Next to that book. Ooh, that's awkward. So we hit our land. Oh, this doesn't look so great, but there's some decent sideboard stuff. Depends. Early days, early days. At least they can't, like, with good conscious slam Liliana here, I guess. Ooh. Interesting. That thing will be annoying. But this has got mana, speed attack 3. We're going to take a chunk back, but we have no intention of blocking it right now. Let's see what else goes on. And they are playing white. Okay, so they're probably playing Angel. They're probably playing some ways to blink the Flesh Gorger. That's not very cool. Alright. Oh yeah, and this is a raceway. Which one's this one? Creature goes haste. Okay, reasonable. Given that we're likely to not get to play with some of the cards in our hand, I think we'll go ahead and do this. They're gonna kill into pre-combat. Nice, so we'll get a trigger at least. I think I am gonna do this. I'll put the counter on the Flamebeard Adept. Alright, we wouldn't be able to cast Cathartic anyway. What interaction do they have? Some removal? Yeah, they're gonna get Lost Entity, which is an interesting one. 7. We'll go ahead and use one of these. I'll put the counter on the Flame Adept. Idea being to bring this up to full power to be able to bring back a Phoenix if we hit one. We'll keep Fear missing out, I think. Alright. Let's see what they have. Interesting. So playing Raceway for haste. Mutavault, black, white, get lost removal. Curious to what the white for is. If they're playing this, it makes sense that they're playing the Seraph to go alongside it. And then some ways to blink it, but we've not seen any of those yet. So, hard to say for sure. They're at 10. This thing is annoying. We could fear missing. 14. You know what? I'll do this first. We might draw something relevant. Yeah, the bonus sphere. Making pretty big life swings back though. Okay, this is an interesting one, right? I mean, we kind of have to attack because we can't block. We could potentially block with the Adept, but trying to double block one of these doesn't seem good. They have Mutavault. They're going to double block here. Interesting. This provided us with an opportunity to trade with one of these. I'm going to do that and hope we're kind of gambling the last card in our hand is not a reanimation spell. There's an argument that this Akenzen could turn on Delirium here. We've got Artifact Creature Enchantment. We're missing Instant Sorcery. I'm going to play this because we have the Den in play. If we draw another land, we get to turn it online. But yeah. We're kind of like playing from behind a little. On the mulligan, rest of the discard spells. So we'll see what they got. Oh, they can have some big stuff. 3 mana, 4 mana. 5 mana. Okay. Sure. The chamber's interesting. They're not at max speed, so they can't haste this, but they will be able to next turn. Which is a little scary. We drew Fear missing out. It's not ideal. Like I said, we can like set up to double block this. Not my favorite. I'd like to discard a seal one. I'll keep this in hand for now. This has to attack. We're in danger of dying to the demon plus backside of the annex. So we'll say go here. Awkward. Blades. Deck looks sweet. Sure, they're gonna flip that. Oh, they're gonna haste blade. Because they don't damage? Yeah, so in 3 to 1 hit. All the other way. We lose this game. The annex trigger. Okay. What do we want? Draft all these. On that Urmass Forge and Hazards. I think. I don't think I got anything else. I was worried about some reanimation stuff or like blink stuff, but I don't think we're gonna bring it in on kind of a whim. And then from our perspective as well, like okay. The learning axes seem okay, but not great. Inti's a little bit of a liability. We want to trim our curve down a little bit. But the copter stay in play versus some Wrath of that. Like we don't want to cut these cards. I think trimming some Phoenixes would be reasonable. Like I want to keep the Fables in here, and then Axe versus like an Inti. No, they're probably playing Sarah, so I don't want to cut any lightning eggs. Or maybe like one each of these. This does a lot, though, is the thing. Maybe actually the answer is we trim too far missing outs. Let's do this. Okay. I had to be worried about like Path Apparel, other like sweeper type effects. But okay. Not as much of us as like some like a mono black discard variant. They're playing Thoughtseize and okay. I will keep this. The Eurobasque Forge is like a great backup plan. I'm gonna lead with Mako here. This is a similar position where I'm gonna play all these three out and hope they don't just get like 1 for 1. Oh well, really I'm saying I hope they don't get a 2 for 1. We'll attack here. I'm not gonna plan on sacrificing to them. I'm effectively setting up to go. I'm gonna push. That's fine. I'm setting up to go to turn 3 Cathartic Reunion, really. That might involve discarding Hazoret, which we maybe don't want to do. Oh, okay. Exile 3 cards from your graveyard against first strike, discard a card. Exile it. Links to end step? Okay. You did not see this in game 1. I think I am kind of down to do this. The other way would be on a Hazoret, which is kind of gas. We like Hazoret. We'll see what happens here, though. We actually kind of drew not much. We can make these attacks. If they decide that they want to block the Mako, then we will neonate. I will do this. And I'll discard it. Adept. They can use the ability here and roll some discarding some cards. I'm still curious as to what the plan is. No, we didn't draw a land, we didn't draw a hollow one. The dream is to be able to set up this like turn 2 Cathartic plus neonate into hollow one. We've not been able to do that. This will also make a sacrifice to the Marauding Mako. Not great. And we've ended up with double Hazoret, so we're regretting discarding the Eurobasque Forge as well, to be honest. The bad times. Oh, they have the Mutavault to not take damage off the, well, for us to take damage off the enemy. So Hazoret says, can't attack or block unless you have 1 or fewer cards in hand. I'm going to play this out. I'm also just going to activate it now. Hazoret's not really a thing. And then we draw. I'm going to use attacks. I'm happy enough to trade the Spirit with the Mako. They might want to attack for speed. Okay, no. The problem really is they can just flip the demon into play, and we don't have a great way to get out of that. We'll see. This triggering max speed is actually pretty sick. I hadn't thought about that a ton. We should be able to Hazoret next turn though. This is gain life equal to speed, not drain life equal to speed. When you sacrifice it. There's a Seraph I kind of have been mentioning a little bit as we go through. I'm still not exactly sure what they're doing with the spirits here, unless they're using them to exile cards from graveyard and they're playing like the new god. That'd be interesting. We take 6 off the fly, go to 7, take 2. That's bad. You can do the Fable thing. we can make Hazoret. They're on 27. We're just dead to the demons, unfortunately. That's a GG angle. One more for the road. Yeah, a bit of a rough loss there. I'm gonna keep this. Yeah, and it's a bit of a weird one. We don't have like loads of great turn 2 stuff without the Neonate. With the state of our hand, I'm gonna lean into this, and then Mako's gonna be a bit of a backup plan. What the Neonate does is lets us like do crazy hollow one stuff on turn 2. We're eyeing up the Neonate. Interesting. Also NT. I'll just open attack here. We'll see what goes on. Cathartic Arenian, discarding the Phoenix. And I think at this point we're discarding the Mako, because we get more value out of these cards. This NT might get discarded as well, depending on what we draw to the Cathartic Arenian. I'm curious if they're going to kill, like, they were looking at the Neonate. I don't think they're going to kill a response. We may just lose the hollow one, which would be a bit sad. But hopefully we have some stuff to follow up with. Fortunately, can't get Orcish Bowmaster in this format, because that would be rough. Alright, we hit, okay, that's not bad. I would like to hit a hollow one here exactly. Yeah, we didn't, but hey. They can kill this. It will not be the absolute end of the world. They don't. Okay, interesting. Hopefully they have Go for the Throat in their deck. That's one upside. Oh, okay, they don't have it. Brilliant. So we have a mountain. Let's go to combat. I'll pay for both of these. Like, wait, where do these come from? We can make the flame blade add up to. So we've not seen much from our opponent yet. If they go like Transmogrify into Vargamoth or something like that, then we are in a lot of trouble. But okay, we do see demons and creatures. That's the looking at. This is our hopefully our revenge on. What do they got here? What kind of main deck Wrath? Oh, Sheldred. Okay, they're gonna 11. So they're on 11. Sheldred's very good against us. I have to be very clear on that. We're gonna cast Inti. And we can get a combat. We can just make them block with Sheldred. They might have a Fatal Push. Okay. Helicopter out. We're not taking ludicrous amounts of damage for non-exile cards, but they do get to gain some life back. Alright. I was talking a big game a minute ago, but things are looking a little more sour. Okay, no attack with the sure. Harbinger. Not going through combat. We'll draw. They're on 8. What do we think they have? So we can crew Smuggler's Copter. With Inti. I think we're gonna go all in and see if it works out. You're boring. So they have. We attack like this. This gets blocked here. This gets blocked by some of these things. We have to trigger this once. The Flame Blade Adept is at least trading with one of the things. So we shouldn't just die out to this. We also do at least get to still draw a discard. That also hurts us. Or they have to block this with something, right? Just in case of whether they throw the Blood Harvester. If they don't blood harvester, 4/7. I'm gonna take action here. Obviously drew a land. That does give us an extra blocker back though. Like, the harp is annoying. For Fable. We might not be able to discard any cards to it, but we'll see. They're gonna go to 3. They also have a blood token. This has been a great game to draw a lightning axe. But hey. Things are going. So this is the line I was like afraid of, where we're gonna go in, get more blood tokens to use the Shell Dread. Okay. Am I gonna... Oh, I guess a 1/1. Oh, that's pretty disgusting. Are they gonna take down a Phoenix? Okay. Sure. Yeah, the blood tokens are actually the worst bit for us. I'm gonna leave the Shell Dread back. So let's draw here. We're at 10. The Neonate doesn't do a lot. They're at 3. We have Copter, but they're not really at 3. They're at like 5 or whatever. We can't directly deal with the... we need to find something. Alright, I'm going to decline this. We can make them use the blood tokens. They can't copy Shield Dread now. They have to find something new to play out. They have removal for the Flame Wake. This is super tricky. It sucks that we can't draw cards. 2 attackers. I was trying to do the maths on it, to work out what we're dead to or not. They're obviously gonna blood some stuff away. One of these get to 5, and then they have to use the other one. And it's a case of what else have they got? And then if they have a creature... Oh, they have Anoint? Oh, that's way worse. Well, yeah, no. I repeat what I said. Way worse. We got our reflection here. They had a second Blood Tide Harvester. No. Oh. Tell me why. Could just be killing me. They're gonna do this anyway. So they're at... No, they've got 2 blood tokens. What are we hoping for? To flip this, we need to answer the Blood Tide Harvester, kind of. I'll take the hit here. This gives us another draw towards something if we can get it. They're at 7, 8, 9 effectively. We have 2 Phoenixes in our graveyard if we can get a creature with power 4 upgraded. There aren't loads of great ways to do that. They are raining in the tank over the shoulder attack. Alright, there we go. Well, we drew Lightning Axe, which in itself isn't a bad card. But we don't get to keep the Fable creature because of the Bloodtide Harvester. The other Bloodtide Harvester reflection is out of the game. So we're going to take 2 here. I'm going to discard this. We hit land again. Right. That's tough. Like, flooded a little. Not a little unfortunate here. So our last few draws. But hey. Alright, game 2. So. I want to bring these cards in. Not worried about class or any of that stuff. Awkward. The Neonates don't really do enough by themselves here. Like the power, like we have a powerful draw, but unless we hit drawing like multiple hollow ones, a little awkward. Like the NTs, the fears are a bit more tough. But I think I'm gonna cut these. Yeah. All right. Let's go again. It looked really good to start with, but we kind of fell off very quickly, and then Sheldred does Sheldred things, and Fable does Fable things. We'll see. Wonder if they have anything for the matchup. The next Hollow One deck's not very popular. Is like, I think it's pretty decent, but not like tier 1 for what it's worth. It's one of my favorite decks to play in the format. Yeah, wanted to try the Baby Sharks out. I've got some other stuff planned. There's some like is it Radiant Lotus? Like Aetherflux Reservoir stuff, which looks really cool. There's a few other cards I'm like, oh, these are pretty hyped to build around. You Goblin bits and pieces too. Like maybe. I'm currently also prepping for some standard tournaments and stuff. And also modern. Deciding what to play in a reasonably large modern tournament near me. Get like humans, D&T, and some bits and pieces. Alright, here we go. We will be on to the play. This is a slow. I'm gonna mulligan it. The double Smuggler's Copter is just really not what we want. This is kind of the opposite. Like, actually fairly fast. But we'll see. This one goes 1, 2, 3, and the other one goes like 2. 2. I will. You're missing out here. I'm gonna discard the mountain. It's a clock. Alright. Cops is interesting. Open into move to combat. Wouldn't mind discarding Smuggler's Copter to get an artifact, but also we are like multiple lands in our hand. Kinda awkward. We already have land in our graveyard. How in are we on this fear attack? Not super in. We can also have some kind of wrath effect. This Smuggler's Copter's doing. This time, discard the land. I'll put it on the Flamebat Adept to try and preserve our vulnerable creatures. We flip the Fable anyway. Fine. They're gonna note there, take 3. I'll play Skenton out. Go ahead. Yeah. Unfortunate timing, so winnable. Phoenix is interesting. We can kind of get Phoenix going ourselves. a bit of a weird one. I'll put the counter on Inti, so they're gonna get a good block. Oh, Drawing Cathartic's also pretty bad. Options to play. There are 9. We'll see what else they've got going on. Discarding here. This might be another like, oh, they just end up winning the game off the back of a Sheoldred again. One issue this deck has is that it does have some cards that want you to have cards in hand. Kind of actively stop yourself from being able to do that. Like, is there a way to sequence here that I want to? Maybe that's everything. I'll do this. Sure. Oh, they just have all of them. We'll cast the Phoenix then. Alright, well. Getting one for and remove it out a little bit. They have the reflection. And yeah, we're on the back of the mulligan as well. You know what's seen Annex? There's the multi harvest to go with the reflection. All in pairs, and then now we hit the land drop. Oh. 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 Oh, hollow one. Priced in here, unfortunately. You just take the onlys. Let's see what we draw. They're at 7. But we also don't get to keep the Flaming Phoenix. That is an illusion. Yeah. So it gets the board into a bunch of spot removal. Right, like, this is where we want the Fables and the Urabrasks. We've just not been able to get there. Flipping the Fable was pretty unfortunate. We just drawn it or whatever. And then there's the Sheoldred to wrap everything up. Boo. Boo. Alright. We drew the land fraud then. That's fair enough, I guess. Alright, well. That's yeah, see you in the wrap up. Let that serve as a reminder if anybody trying to have innovate and have fun in Pioneer. The Rados mid-range will always be there. It's eternal. And we're there to crush your dreams. But hey, 1 and 2 overall. We did lose to Rados twice. Tough games. Post-ball they have a lot of spot removal. We're kind of relying on these Fables and like bringing in Urabrask Forges and the Hazards, which are harder to deal with, but for the way each of the deck, you kind of end up flipping them away, or other things can happen. And Mako is really good. We saw it get some counters. We saw it get not. We didn't even get to like massively like stack up and stuff, but the deck still has some kind of similar problems. It's like a good 1-drop. Previously, I played things like Bomat Courier here. I think Bomat Courier is still pretty good for what it's worth. It's just a bit more like it's matchup dependent. It's good versus controlling decks. It's not good versus anything that's playing to the board. But Mako is like very solid and you can grow very quickly. The problem really comes at like 2, and you have like a bunch of individually really powerful cards with Inti, Fear of Missing Out, Fable and Mirror Breaker, and we're playing Fable Phoenix here, and I think it's fine, but it's not like excellent. I have a version of this I've kind of like put together for standard as well. I'm gonna mess around with it. There's some other pretty sweet stuff in, but like these cards don't necessarily. Well, they're all very good. They don't necessarily play well together. Inti isn't really a great 2-drop because you're immediately playing it. Also, the nature of the deck is that we want to play like previous iterations. I've not played like Fable in the main deck. I put these in the sideboard for the matches where it's good. and I had like hollow one as the only expensive card, lowering the curve. I like that a little bit better, just so you can maximize on like NT being able to flip more 1-mana spells and things. There are a bunch of times where if like, oh yeah, if we drew like Lightning Axe at the right point in those games, we would have been able to convert some of these and whatever. But like this is like a little bit awkward. We actually didn't get, well, we didn't really get to see much Delirium stuff out of here missing out. It is pretty solid in the deck. Smuggler's Copter can also be awkward. You're like 1 and then playing it on 2, but to do that you're attacking with like a 1-2 or something. You're not clocking very quickly doing this. Hey. Getting to an optimal build. This is obviously my first draft, or like close to my first draft. So if you got any ideas as well on how to improve the deck, things that make it a bit more efficient. But yeah. Lowering the curve, I think, would be the best thing in the main deck. Training the Smuggler's Copters, probably getting rid of the Fables. Having like these 3 as your only 2s, and then follow 1 of them up here. I'm still kind of like this and that on Flamewake Phoenix. I think it is really solid. There's times it's really, really good. Maybe the answer is just to play a couple of them. And there are things like Fiery Temper you can think about as well, which is like it's a 3-mana card, but it's actually a 1-mana card because you discard it, and you've got a bunch of ways to do that. But again, it's one of those things where you need mana, but also don't want to get like super flooded. Like we played 18 lands, and you can see we get to like 5-6 lands in some of those games as well. So there's nothing about it. But I think the main way to improve what we have here is to trim that curve down a bit. Get rid of the Copters, get rid of the Fables, put these in the sideboard alongside these like Forges and Hazarats, and then like have more cheap removal and then more threats down here. More ways to kind of like spin cards off. Unfortunately, don't get looting in this format. Do get that in Modern. Kind of looking forward to it. But hey, having more like cheap discard spells could be another way to look at it as well. But yeah, that's the deck. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do like, subscribe, share it around to anybody who you think might enjoy it. And yeah, really appreciate it. Help support the channel, all that stuff. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Peace out.